So, hello and welcome along to another edition of Isolation Interviews for Hospital Radio Reading and for my YouTube channel. And I'm super excited to be joined by a very talented actress in the form of Georgia Scholes from the Bay. Thank you, Georgia, for joining me. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Are you?
I'm really well, thank you. And now we must just say, I know that you've, and I hope you don't mind me saying, you've just had a sort of bit of unwellness recently. But you're recovering. How is everything?
I'm okay. Yeah, I've had COVID, but I'm okay. I'm on the mend. I'm just still a bit like fluey, a bit like bunged up and snotty, and I've got a cough. But I'm okay. I'm past the worst of it. I've come out the other side.
It's funny. I'm one of these people that so far, touch wood, COVID hasn't got to me, hasn't touched me. But there's a lot of people recently I've noticed who have suddenly it's caught them now after 2 years of being able to
Yeah.
dodge it. It's suddenly caught up with them.
Well, this is my third time having it. So the last time I actually got it, I was working on Brassic, and I got it then, which was September time. And then I got it like the first year everyone had it. Oh, I don't know. This is my third time having it anyway.
Now, I just wanted to ask, obviously, how has the last couple of years been for you? I know it's been tough for everyone, but for you, work-wise, how were you affected? How did you find it all?
I mean, the whole lockdown fiasco in general was tough for everybody. Now everybody had different circumstances. I mean, I was fortunate enough that I lived with my fiance, and we had a little one-bedroom apartment in a loft of this old mill. So we had no garden, no nothing. So we were like doing each other's head in. So it was a real relationship tester, but we come out the other side and we're engaged now. So something must have gone okay. I didn't do his head in too much. So in that aspect, it was tough. But then I think, well, I was fortunate enough that I had someone to share that time with. You know, we made memories like with each other, and at the same time, I'm very very close with like my mum and my dad and my brothers and my sisters. So, you know, with Zoom and FaceTime. My mum loves a good FaceTime. She can't just call you for something or text you. If she wants something from the shop, she has to FaceTime you. You know what I mean? So, I was good and I was connected with people that way. Um, but then in terms of work, I mean, it was a weird one because the industry stopped. You know, at the time I was playing a small part in Hollyoaks, and I'll never forget set my alarm for like 5 in the morning, to get up and get changed, ready to go. Set my alarm, and as I set it, I got an email through from production saying that production stopped for the foreseeable, like, and it was like, oh right, okay, well now I'm pooped. Do you know what I mean? Because at the time, whilst other people's jobs were stopping, the TV and film industry was still, you know, riding this wave, and still filming. But then when that stopped, it was like a real like, okay, well, what am I going to do now? Um, so there was a few months where there was obviously no work at all. I went and started working in a supermarket. I started working in B&M for money because I needed to live, as well as a few different bits and bobs. But fortunately enough, it came back and I went back to filming. So that was nice after, but it was hard. It was tough.
I mean, for you, where did the love of acting first come from? Do you remember where the kind of interest started for you?
I don't know. See, I've always just been like this. So my mum and dad are not actors. They're not like, my dad's funny. Like, my dad's just not right. But he's got a bit of a personality and whatever. And I just thought I just got it off my mum and my dad. I came out the womb and I was just like, ta-da, I'm here. So from that, and just being the way that I am, like I just can't shut up. Like, once you get speaking to me, that's it. I've taken your day, as you'll find out. So it just developed. So I started off in like little stage schools when I was really little, and then when it really took off is I'm the oldest of four, so my mum and my dad used to take Liam and Ryan to football training, and obviously the different ages, so I had to go one at a match here, one at a match there. So they needed somewhere to put me and my sister. They were like, "Wow, get rid of them. We need something to do for them." So they put us in like a musical theatre Saturday school thing at it was at a primary school. So we went there and we was there for a couple of years. Obviously, acting was my passion then, and my sister's. And then from there, at the age of 11, I auditioned for the Lowry Theatre. The Lowry used to have like a Lowry Young Actors thing. And I got in at 11. And that's from the age of 11 is when I turned professional in theatre. And then from theatre, it just led on to getting an agent and TV and blah.
Do you remember the first time you were sort of appeared on a TV set? What was that like? How was that experience for you the first time?
Well, my first ever, I'd been and seen things filmed before, like in TV shows, like game shows and stuff like that. I was actually on a game show. I was surprised in the audience by Sam and Mark. So I was a part of that. You know, it wasn't acting; that was just being me. So my first actual ever telly job was Coronation Street, and obviously Corrie is like, and being a Manc, it was like, oh wow, on Coronation Street. So I'll never forget going, and I was so nervous because I was like, it was like this whole new world. I think I was like 13, and it was like, whoa, 13, 14, you know, these people that you recognise on the telly. Now, I'm not one to get starstruck, but then it's when you go away from the situations after, and you're like, oh wow, I've just been sat having my dinner with Gail Platt. Do you know what I mean? It's that's strange. But it was fascinating, and I loved watching things, and I love watching how people do things. So in terms of that, the acting was great, but then I also loved how, well, I was interested in what each member of the crew do, and like, well, why are they doing that? And like, I want to walkie-talkie and shout. So that's why eventually from that point, I ended up getting into the production side of things as well. So I work both the production side and the front of the side of the camera. But my initial, the first time I was on a set is what intrigued me really for the behind the scenes as well.
And I mean, obviously, we must talk about The Bay, a fantastic series. The third series obviously finished now, but people can still catch up with it. But for you, because am I right in saying you weren't just an actor on the show, but you were a runner behind the scenes? Is that correct?
No, well, I tried being a runner in behind the scenes. I tried, and they used to shout at me, like Dylan and Chloe and like the runners and Catherine and that. They used to shout at me because I'd be like, I'll just go make my own brew, and they're like, you do realise if you do that, I won't have a job. And I was like, I know, but I don't want you to make me a brew. I can do it. Do you know what I mean? Because I can't sit still either. I'm like, I've got to be like, boom, boom, boom. So I didn't on that job, but I did just go on to Brassic as a runner, looking after the cast. So I do runner work, but I wasn't allowed on the Bay. Maybe next time.
Now, obviously, with The Bay, how did that first come about for you? I mean, because obviously it was it's a fantastic series. Obviously, to go into series 3, how did that come about for you?
It was mental. So off the back of lockdown, well, we was in a lockdown when I got the audition for The Bay. And it came at a time that was just so everything aligned, if that makes sense. I know it sounds really spiritual and I'm like, ooh, but everything aligned, you know, towards the back end of lockdown, I took time for myself and I was like, right, I need to work on me. You know, I was struggling mentally, which had an effect on me physically and all sorts. So I took time for the like October to December to January time to work and concentrate on myself. So after putting the work into myself and learning how to look after me, I got offered the opportunity to audition for The Bay. So I got an email, a text message from my agent with like a little quick, you know, sort of character description of saying, oh, they want you to take for this and da-da-da. And I read the script and I was like, boom, I'm having it. Like, I want it. And as an actor, I don't know if it's just me or other people might tell you that you haven't, if you know, you know. Like, I've had things in the past, and if I know I've got it. Do you know what I mean? And I have, touch wood, got him. So I read it, I did the script, and I did the self-tape, and my fiance Bartek, he ever so kindly read in with passion, as Erin was my self-tape was my interview scene. So he read in for me, and I sent it off. And the following week, I got a phone call saying, oh, they really liked your tape. The director wants to meet you, and the director and the producer. And I was like, great. So at that stage, you normally know that you've got past the big influx of tapes, and they've now narrowed it down to like 4 to 8 people, you know what I mean? And they can decide from there, once they meet you personally, like what they think of you. So I met them on Zoom, and I was so nervous. Because I was like, I wanted it so bad. And I was a fan of the show as well. Like, me and my partner had just binge watched season 2. You know, it was so weird. And I wanted it so bad, and I remember being so nervous. And we did a couple of scenes, which is hard to do over Zoom, because when you're in the room with someone, you can do the whole like eye contact thing. People feel it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So when on Zoom, it was like, right, okay, I need to do this, but I need to try and captivate them whilst being behind a screen. And I'm in Manchester and they're in London. But I managed to do it. And remember that was on the Thursday, and I said to myself, right, if I've not heard by Wednesday next week latest, I know I've not got it. But I was in my head, I knew if I don't find out Monday, I've not got it. But I was giving myself till Wednesday. And I remember all weekend I was like, I kept telling myself, I will get the part, I will get the part, like full on manifestation. I've got a full book, and I wrote down, I manifested, and I do that every night. But I wrote down like, I will get the part in the bay, I will get the part in the bay. Like I've pages and pages and pages of it. And Monday came, and I remember it got to like lunchtime, I hadn't heard anything, and I was like, it's like 2:00, I hadn't heard anything, and I was like, and I felt sick the whole time. And I was literally about to leave the house. I was sat in my dressing gown at 4:00, but it was locked down, so who cares? And I was about to leave the house to go to the opticians, and my phone rang. It was my agent, and before I could even process what the phone call was, I just went, hello. And she's like, would you like some good news, Georgia? And I just cried, and I was like, oh, no way. And then I got the part, which was just wonderful.
I mean, I say it's an amazing cast. You must have felt blessed to be working with such amazing people. I mean, had you met anyone from the show previously?
No, I don't think so. No. Obviously, like being the industry that we're in and whatever, there's a lot of people that we all have mutual friends. Like we all know someone who knows them, because everybody knows each other. But I hadn't worked with anyone that I know of. But it was great. Everyone was just like the best.
I mean, it really does come across that you guys get on so well. It really shines through on the screen. And I mean, I imagine when you're working on a show like that, you have to kind of bond quite quickly. So kind of, I imagine in your downtime, it must have been a lot of fun hanging around with those guys.
Honestly, it was so fun. So fun. And like, as you say, it's important that you are just put into a room with someone, and once you've gone, hiya, nice to meet you, and it's like, right, okay, pretend to be a family now, you have to just bond like that. And then obviously the amount of time that you spend there with them people, they become your family. I saw my family on the show more than I saw my own family during that period of time, because we work away, and we're with each other 24/7. So it is important to bond quickly and to understand where everyone needs a little chill time. Like me and David, I think we did Barry's head in a few times. Like, I think there was one day we was filming in the school, and our green room was in like a music room, and there was a drum kit, there was a guitar, there was all sorts. And well, me and David lost it, and I think Barry was a bit like, I want to go home. But apart from that, it was great.
And I mean, I imagine when you're working with someone like David, who you get on with so well, and then you've got to play the scenes where you're like really hating on each other, that must be quite fun to do.
You know what? It's fun, and it's so hard. Like, because David is like the sweetest soul ever. Like, he's not got a bad bone in his body at all. Like, no malice in him at all. It's so hard. Like, I remember one of the scenes we filmed, where me and Isabel, who plays Molly, and we shout when he comes into the bedroom when we're having our little talk. And I get off the bed and I scream at him like, "What the bleep?" And I'll never forget that he walked into the bedroom, and I shouted at him, and he just stopped. Like, and we was waiting for him to say his line, and he was just like, "I've never been shouted at like that before." Like, what? And I was like, I'm so sorry, because he is just not like, it's like, he's just not the person that you want to shout at, because you want to cuddle him every time you see him. You don't want to like shout at him. But it was great to be a bit nasty, and we'd have a laugh about it. So.
And I mean, of course, to get to play the stepdaughter of, Marsha's character. I mean, working with Marsha must have been amazing. I mean, what was she like to work with?
Great. Really great. She was an inspiration. You know, don't forget, she's our leading lady of the show. You know what I mean? She's the lead. She's number one. So she's the boss, sort of. Do you know what I mean? Like, and obviously playing her stepdaughter meant that I was like, we had a few scenes with each other. We had a connection in a family way. But she taught me so much, and just being around her and watching her manage certain things. Obviously, she's older than me. She's had more experience in the industry than me, so I learned a lot off Marsha in terms of how to deal with things when people are asking you to do stuff or like take direction. She was just great to work with, and she was so funny. She was a laugh. It was great.
And of course, she lives out in LA, so I mean, you'll have to try and get yourself a little invite over to LA.
Tell me about it. When they're all and Barry had just come home from America, and they're all telling me about nice little mansions in Malibu and wherever they were from. I don't know. I was like, I live in Salford. Do you know? I want a bit of that and the sunshine and beach, but it's all right. I'll stick to the Bridgewater Canal. I'm okay. I'm humble.
I mean, the other character we must talk about, which is, of course, Morecambe itself. I mean, it's character in itself. It's a beautiful location. I've never had the pleasure of going. What was it like? What is it like to just film there?
It was great. It was great. Minus the wind sometimes, because the wind is horrific. And with long hair and makeup, my hair was just like, you couldn't tame it. It's lovely. It's stunning. Morecambe Bay and that whole seafront is just picturesque. Like, you think you're in a film. I remember we filmed the shot of us and the family like leaving the house for the final shot series. We filmed that, and I think it was like 9:30 at night in the summer, and we were catching the sunset. So we had to it was all very rushed and very hectic, and the adrenaline was great. And I remember when we was walking out filming that scene, and we walked down the road, I remember us all saying to each other like, wow, because you couldn't write it, you know, it's like the final shot of the show, and it's just so beautiful, you know, the sunset. Oh, it was great. And the people of Morecambe are amazing too. Most of them absolutely love us being there and are so helpful and really supportive. Bar the odd one, but there's always one, and it's probably because we're outside their house at 1 o'clock in the morning making lots of noise. But they're great, and I love it.
Now, I mean, in terms of the sort of storyline of the Bay, I mean, how far did you know? Did you know the ending? Did you know who'd done it? How much do you know?
No, sorry. So we obviously, when you get an audition, I got character breakdown, and I only had, at this point when I'd had the audition and got the call back, I'd only seen 3 scenes. So it was up to myself to try and like piece bits of because when I got the scene, I was like, right, I'm playing her daughter, but I'm also involved in this, and I was like, so it's hard to try and like a jigsaw to try and place where you are and what you're doing. But then obviously we have a read through, and when you film, it's split into blocks. So we have block 1, which is episodes 1 to 3, and then block 2 is 4 to 6. So you film 1 to 3 first over a couple. So all collectively, we found out at the same time what happened in them episodes. So we was like, okay, that's what happens in 1 to 3. We didn't have a clue what happened from that point at all. You know, we used to guess about we all used to guess, like the casting crew would be like, yeah, it's you. No, I think it's you. And do you know what I mean? So we don't know anything. We didn't really know anything about who the murderer was, except, spoiler alert, if you've not seen it already, Joel, he knew all along, but he did so well to not tell anybody, you know, because we used to wind everyone up. Everyone used to get wound up by going, yeah, it's you, definitely you. But he like just didn't, he played it off so cool. And when it was him, we were like, what? But it was, yeah, we don't really find anything out until do you know what I mean? So that was the before.
And I mean, of course, we know that the show will be back for a 4th series. Do you know yet, will you be involved? Because we'd love to see you back.
I am involved, yes, I will be back, which I'm very, very, very fortunate and happy about. And I can't wait to go back because it was just the best time ever with the best people. So I am looking forward to going back.
I mean, do you know when you start filming and when you get back into the character?
Not confirmed as of yet. Obviously, ITV have just given the green light to say, yeah, we want another one. So I presume it's all within, pre-production at the minute and all the planning and stuff like that. But we're only the actors. They'll just let us know on the day and let us know. They'll let us know when it does. But yeah, I don't know yet.
And I mean, obviously going forward, it does appear like The Bay is the dream role. But is there anything, are there any other projects you'd love to work on? Is there a sort of a dream going forward?
I don't, it's a funny question, this one, because it's like, oh, I want to be an Oscar winner, which would be great. Don't get me wrong. But then I'm ambitious. So I'm not that ambitious. But I don't know. I'd love to keep still working within dramas because I love them. Because they're like mini films, aren't they? That are broken down for you and easy to take in. So I'd love to carry on working through dramas. And I mean, just keep going and keep working. Do you know what I mean? One day I'd love to direct a show myself, because that's a passion of mine and always has been since being little. I was always the bossy sibling. Like, me and my brothers and sisters used to put little plays on or shows for my mum and dad, and I'd be like, right, you stand there, no, but you've got to say it like this. So I want to be a director as well. But yeah, just keep working, and maybe a Marvel film one day. Marvel, if you're watching. Yeah.
Now, I just want to say it's been an absolute pleasure. But before we go, is there any messages you'd like to give to anyone who's currently stuck in hospital at the moment? Anything you'd like to say to them?
Get well soon. Whatever your reason is for being in there, stay strong. Know that it's just temporary and things will change. And hopefully with Matthew's videos and podcasts and things like that, they'll get you through. But if you need any help, speak to people and keep your head up high. You got this.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Of course, keep safe, and you are welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much. I'll be back. You regret saying that.